Here's an honest question for you, brother. Have you ever looked at someone else's IG profile and he or she might have been in your age and they might have been driving a Lamborghini or being at a place in life that you've been jealous of, or just simply a friend of yours or someone else who is pretty much the same age or the same category of any sort of you have been doing something that you've been jealous of, or you've been just simply left you with feelings of not being enough, feeling shitty, and so on and so forth. Or just like looking up at all of the millionaires and all the billionaires and all of the people who achieved quote unquote so much already despite of young age, of despite of certain circumstance. And so you are just simply thinking about yourself and you're like, man, like, I'm a piece of darn shit, like I'm not there, I'm not good, and so on and so forth. And so brothers and sisters, I gotta tell you, and I will confess it to you, that I got that feeling many, many times. And I got this freaking feeling today too. And so I needed to share something super fucking important with you, which I've been blessed to learn throughout my journey of monk mode, Nofap, semen retention, and just trying to become the best fucking version of myself every single day that I humanly possibly can. So every single time when we are putting ourselves into such inner states, some mental states like that, we are just simply setting up ourselves for fucking misery. You know why? Because we are just simply looking outside of ourselves and trying to attach some kind of a meaning towards something that is outside of us. And it will manifest itself in a form of, hey man, when I will have that big house, then I will be happy. When I'll be losing that weight, then I'll be happy. And so this might sound logical because, obviously if I have $10 million in my bank account and, I'm still in my 20s, that means that I'm quote unquote made it, and, I can live a lifestyle that not too many people can live. And I can do things, and I can basically I just have a huge leverage. So that might sound good, and that might be good. And yes, there's truth behind that for sure. But the actual point is that I've been following guys like that since I'm not the one who has 8 figures in my bank account yet in dollars. But these people still talk about problems, brother. Like, these people will still have issues. These are still people. The same thing with the guy that we or you might admire who is in shape and so on and so forth. And so basically this whole thing could be boiled back down to inner perspective, because every single time you have to see that every single time when we are just simply rendering some kind of a meaning or trying to attach some kind of a meaning towards an outsider circumstance or outside of object, we are losing ourselves, brother. We are giving up our souls, because now instead of you having the control inside of yourself, inside of your mind, inside of your heart, inside of your soul, then you're just simply putting the control outside of yourself and putting it on the house, putting it on the achievement, putting it on that thing. And so you're just simply placing it into the future, so therefore it will become an object that you can chase, which is, don't get me wrong, this is our current society's greatest I would say perspective or paradigm, that we're supposed to be achieving something, so therefore we can have a good life, so therefore we can be happy, and so on and so forth. And that is again partly true, because again, if you're good physically, I mean your health is very good, if you are good financially, there are good, nice states and good states. But every single time when we are simply chasing after those things, then we are again giving up control. And so every single time when I've been in those states, I just realized that the only time that, like I got like super crazy, like rushing around because I felt like, I'm not enough, and like I even had like super dark thoughts about it, and I was like, man, like I'm not good for anything, and I just started to punish myself internally and so on and so forth. And I just got to realize that that is not the place where we're supposed to be going towards, because the only place where we can find power and true honest power and strength is inside of ourselves. And yeah, no shit Sherlock, no shit Sherlock. People have been figuring this whole thing out many centuries ago. Stoic philosophers, Buddhism, Christianity in its beginning. Now it's about something about different, just like every single religion. But never mind. The point over here is that inner ability, inner perspective. We're supposed to be simply being our inner perspective all the single time. And so this is what Nofap is all about, for example. Nofap is not about... Nofap is not only about discipline, brother. Nofap is not only about you being able to tell to yourself that, brother, I will not be jacking off today because I'm disciplined. And yes, that's perhaps one of the greatest parts of the game, but there is something deeper behind that. That is a place when you are just simply able to control yourself, to control your urges, to control your inner perspective, to control the actual thing, the actual desire, the actual sensation. So therefore, you just simply putting your whole consciousness into, I don't want to sound like a fucked up spiritual guru or something, but your whole consciousness towards a place when you're, man, like, I'm just simply looking at myself and I'm saying, hey man, stop this thing. You can do more. The same thing with sports. Something is telling to you that, man, I want to fucking quit. I don't want to do this thing. But this shit happened to me today too. It's like, man, I don't want to do this shit today. I fucking don't want to do this thing. And my higher self was like, motherfucker, you're putting on the running shoes and you're coming out here running because that's your shit. You have to get this thing done because this is part of your journey. And so I got that thing done. And so something that is higher inside of me, this inner perspective, touching this thing more and more and more and more and more, and being able to operate from a higher level. And so this is what this whole quote unquote self-improvement journey is all about. Semen retention, Nofap, working out, cold showers. Again, you fucking don't want to do cold showers. Like, who the fucking hell likes cold showers? No one. In the very first few seconds, you fucking hate it. And after your body just simply gets, adopts to it, and it's like, man, like at the end of the cold shower, you're like, I'm feeling recharged and all the good stuff. And what we might have to understand, brother, is that don't feel freaking lost because you're seeing all these people, or like all these things out there on Instagram and TikTok, and seeing all these friends and making you emotional because you're not at a certain level. And I'm feeling this especially strongly because I'll be honest with you, I just really got on this path of really like working all the fucking time and like improving myself all the fucking time, and yet I'm not at the place that I wanted to be at. And so some days I'm pushing up myself. I'm just simply pushing myself, punishing myself, excuse me, for this. But I just got to realize the more times I'm doing that, the more I'm taking from myself, because the journey is not only about that. The journey might take longer, and the journey might not end up at the place that I planned that thing to end up, because again, the world is an infinitely chaotic place. And I'm not telling this as an excuse for me not being able to achieve what the freaking hell I'm setting up for myself. It is about doing every single thing that you can do every single day towards the place that you are destined to go. But at the end of the day, you're not beating up yourself because of the results, because you can control one fucking thing. And this is the fundamental and universal and never dying principle. You can only control your inner perspective. You don't have the control around your surroundings. And the more we are placing our energies into this place, into the place where we are controlling the thing, the more we will be winning back our power. At the end of the day, you will be like, man, you have fucking nothing, but you can still feel joyous. You can still be yourself. And again, it's not about joy and not about that, but you can just simply free yourself or be in harmony with yourself. Again, Stoicism, Buddhism, it's all about the same, brother. Understanding that it is not outside of us, but it is inside of ourselves. And the more we are able to gain the strength over that thing, the stronger we will become. And so, don't get me wrong, highly likely you will need some kind of a fucking physical pain to go through. Fasting, working out, some kind of a physical pain, brother. We will not be able to avoid that because we are physical beings and we are animals, and we have to learn how to control our urges and our bodies. So yeah, I needed to talk about this because many days these ideas and these thoughts that are coming up inside of my head just like making me feel fucking depressed that I'm not at the place that I'm supposed to be at. And those are the places when I'm just realizing that, man, like, you're not at that place because you're fucking worthless in your you're fucking worthless in your field. Why? Because you just started out, because you're a young motherfucker. Like, what a freaking can you accept? Just like start a business and become a billionaire in 2 years. Like, man. And yes, there are guys who can make that thing. And yes, that is freaking possible. But at the end of the day, this is fucking not to do about you. It's about you and your inner perspective, how you are perceiving that shit. Love.